In an ancient court, a king asked his scholars a question that seemed to defy physical logic. They were discussing the legend of Gajendra Moksha, the moment God traveled from heaven to save a crying elephant. The king wanted to know, exactly how far was the distance between heaven and the earth? While the scholars remained silent, a man standing in the back of the court offered a solution. He claimed that heaven was exactly as far as the distance from which the elephant's cry for help could be heard. This is the root of the Sanskrit concept Hridaya Nivasi. It suggests that the divine is not a distant physical location, but an internal presence residing within the heart. For centuries, these stories have been interpreted primarily as moral fables or spiritual guidance. These myths are usually placed in a category separate from historical or scientific reality. However, looking closer at the technical data within these manuscripts suggests a different story. When analyzed through the lenses of astronomy and archaeology, these texts function as detailed logs of an advanced ancient era. The Ramayana contains claims that often seem like historical impossibilities, most notably that King Rama ruled for 11,000 years. The Mahabharata provides a specific instruction for interpreting these timelines. It states that for a king living in total accordance with Dharma, a single day is recorded as a year. Dividing 11,000 days by the ancient 360-day calendar resolves to precisely 30.5 physical years. Applying this precision to planetary alignments recorded in the text, modern software converges on one specific birth date, January 10, 5114 BCE. Applying these mathematical standards to the text transforms it from a timeless fable into a time-stamped historical log. These records also describe highly specific technology, including the aerial empire of Ravana and his use of a flying vehicle known as the Pushpak Vimana. Technical texts like Avaimanika Shastra describe these crafts not as magic, but as machines. They detail mechanics capable of physical expansion and contraction, driven by specific technical terminology rather than divine spells. These descriptions are supported by the physical geography of Sri Lanka. To this day, the region contains ancient sites with names like Wariapola, which translates in the local language to landing place for aircraft. To ignore these technical descriptions is to overlook the highly specific terminology and the physical geographic footprints left behind. This leads to the most significant physical claim in the epic, the construction of a massive bridge across the ocean to reach Lanka. Satellite imagery reveals the Ram Setu, a 35-kilometer subsurface structure connecting India and Sri Lanka. Measurements confirm a width-to-length ratio of exactly 10:1, aligning perfectly with the ancient epic's description of a 10 by 100 yojana crossing. Oceanographic carbon dating of the shoreline placed the age of the structure at approximately 7,000 years. This matches the 5114 BCE date we decoded earlier using the planetary alignments. When the 10:1 ratio, the geographic coordinates, and the carbon dating all align with the text, the Ramayana's account of a massive crossing moves from the realm of legend into a measurable physical reality. Even with this technical precision, the construction is described with a sense of wonder. The text claimed the stones floated because the builders wrote the name of Rama on them, an act of devotion. This parallels the story of a young archer who mastered his aim but was defeated by a Zen master who had mastered his mind. The floating stones represent the idea that engineering mastery is incomplete without mental discipline. Ancient Indian civilization viewed science and spirituality as twin technologies. They were the two halves required to sustain an advanced society. A culture that could map planetary alignments and build 35-kilometer ocean crossings still prioritized the internal journey toward the Hridaya Nivasi. These epics provide a holistic map of human potential. They suggest that a civilization reaches its true peak only when technical mastery and spiritual depth speak the same language.